Hey, if you've had to deal with conflict at work, or if you've had to have crucial conversations in your workplace, maybe over a missed commitment or a missed deadline, there are some great techniques out there for engineers, people with technical background, if you're in systems engineering, that are really going to help you deal with conflict without elevating the management and asking them to come in and fix it. Because in general, we want to try and solve problems at our level if we can, and assuming there's nothing illegal going on. So a lot of this comes from the book, Crucial Conversations. It's by Patterson, Grenny, McMillan, and Switzler. By Vital Smarts, it's now called Crucial Learning. But again, this book I think is very recommended reading. I've read it myself. I took the course. Your company might offer the live training. But there are three things here that I want you to take away from. And there are three techniques. One, to make it safe. So let's say if someone missed a deadline. We have to control our internal story, our internal narrative of why this person was late. Maybe some life things happen, a sick relative, okay, that happens. Parent just went into hospice. Now, it doesn't mean that they needed to meet their deadline or at least tell us that they weren't going to make it. But we got to make it safe. We have to assume, even if we think we know, assume that we don't know the full story. Okay, that's going to help us come in a little cooler, a little less hot-tempered, and it'll get the dialogue going that we need to get going. Second one is to focus on what we really want. So let's say it was a missed deadline. Maybe what we really wanted was not necessarily hitting a particular date, although that was what was agreed upon, which means we do need to confront it. But maybe we just needed to know the status so that if it was going to be late, we had time to adjust and then socialize that on our end. Okay, now on other situations, maybe if you're a supervisor and you need people to turn in certain artifacts on time because it's a production environment, then what we want is find a way to meet your deadlines and get it done on time. And then that could be the conversation where we brainstorm around, okay, what are possible solutions? Okay, so we need to know what we want. We need to make it safe. And then the next technique is a combination of stating our path and then letting them state their path. So for instance, again for the deadline, we'd come in and say, hey, okay, gosh, this requirements traceability matrix, it was due 2 weeks ago. You said that was an okay deadline, and I didn't hear anything for 2 weeks. What happened? This is different than, you were late, why didn't I have it 2 weeks ago? Because if we do that, they're going to clam up. So we just state our path. How did we come to the conclusion that, oh, this was late, and that, then why are we having this conversation? Now, they'll probably know they made a commitment, maybe not, but we'll at least we'll put our case out there, and then here's the key part: we invite them to state their path. We'll maybe end our bit with, "Did you understand it differently, or did I get the date wrong?" Now, some of this we're speculating on what might be the problem. The goal is not to sort of put the blame on us. The goal is to make it safe and have them start explaining their story. So then they might say, oh yeah, well, I was working toward that deadline, but the director came in and wanted me to stop everything and redo this one estimate on this other program. Okay, well, that's serious. I could see where, maybe the director pulls rank. Okay, then we can now have the right conversation, which is, okay, well, if that happens, I thought you would have told me. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see any email. Okay, what's going on? Oh yeah, I should have told you. Now we can move in with the commitment, and this is an important piece. Okay, well, if something like this happens, or if anything happens that might affect you're completing this by this deadline, do you commit? You will let me know within a day of the situation so we can brainstorm it. So okay, yeah, I commit to that. The advantage here are several. One, we preserve the interpersonal relationship. Okay, we're not getting someone to clam up. We're not coming in there with thunder and lightning. And we found out the story. So we maintained the relationship. We elicited a secondary commitment so that if something else happens, they commit to letting us know. Now what this opens up is, let's say this happens again. Now all of a sudden it's a different conversation. It's not, hey, you committed to this deadline and it didn't happen. It's, hey, you committed to this deadline, as I heard it, and you committed to tell me if something was going to happen that would push the deadline out, and I didn't hear anything. Now you're not having the same conversation over and over again. It's a pattern. It's like, okay, you missed it once. We talked about it. We made another commitment, and that was missed again. Now we have 2 broken commitments in a row. Well, we don't phrase it this way, but basically it's 2 broken commitments in a row, and now it's a pattern. And if that continues, then it becomes a respect issue. Again, that's from the book. One is an incident, then a pattern, then it's a respect issue. And that conversation could be something like, gosh, you've missed 3 different deadlines. You didn't tell me on either of the 3, and you always had a seemingly valid reason that it didn't work. I'm wondering if you don't feel you need to honor my commitments. That is different than, hey, I'm wondering why this is late. Now all of a sudden it's, hey, is there a respect issue? And that's something maybe you can go up to management and saying, hey, look, I was talking to Bill and I just can't get him to deliver. I can't get him to give me notice if he can't deliver. And when I tried to have a respect conversation with him about a pattern of breaking commitments, he brushed me off. Okay, that's something that the manager can go and say, hey, look, I think we have a respect issue here. My colleague Raymond is trying to get some work done, and Bill's fighting him, or whatever it is. That's very different than going to the manager and saying, hey, Bill was late. Okay, well, there's a limit to what the manager can do. He can make a phone call, but there's a lot less gravitas to that one. This takes skill. I was not good at this at first. I'm still learning as I go here, a work in progress. But I do recommend this book, particularly if you have to have tough conversations, if people are missing deadlines, they're not making commitments and honoring them, or they're not even making commitments. If they're not committing to a time, date, and a deliverable, now all of a sudden that's a respect issue, okay? And this will come in handy. The good news is you can still be a hardcore engineer and have these skills, and you know what? Your career is going to take off if you can master interpersonal conflict, because now your manager will trust you leading a group, knowing you can handle low-level conflict and you're not going to elevate everything to your boss, to him or her, when even the most normal, natural, human nature type things come up. So let me know what you think. If you've read this, comment below. If you want to learn more, also comment below. And I will see you in the next tip.